Hello, everyone. I am here to talk about the new Kerli song, Alchemise, which just came out. And I'm still kind of in shock because I didn't expect this song to come out so soon in the new year. I knew we were getting new music on the horizon, but you never know. It just sometimes can really surprise you. I was just like, what a wonderful way to start out 2024. And of course, we started out last year with her single 21st Century Kids, which I have reviewed on this channel. I'll link it in the description. And then we also got, towards the end of the year, the reimagined version, the acoustic version. But and I discussed in this video, as we kind of learned, those songs, or that song, seems to be its own sort of what we call, droplet. A song that's not attached to a specific project, at least for the time being. But Kerli had spoken about how she had plans for a more encompassing project of work that was to come in the new year. And so here we are with the first song of supposedly 5 new songs that are going to comprise a EP, it appears to be, that I believe, although it hasn't been officially confirmed, it's been heavily hinted at based on her social media postings, will be called Oversoul. And there's even an album cover I've seen on Genius, which I don't know how accurate that is. I don't know if someone's just putting that there, but it sounds like this is kind of the project. I mean, we'll see. Maybe we're wrong, but it does look like we are going to be exploring 5 different paths or prayers. That's sort of how this song is being categorized by her. The first of 5 chapters that surround the theme of this project. 5 paths to internal freedom. The theme of this song is very much about finding an existential catharsis through assimilating all of the disparate parts of your identity. Alchemy is an old practice from medieval times, is a term for, particularly a specific type of what could have been considered pseudoscience, or by today's standards, pseudoscience, but also could be considered practical science and chemistry, where particularly people were trying to find ways of creating gold, turning different metals into gold. This metaphor is obviously being richly explored here in the lyricism. Come from above to the below to hold me in the light, and conjure all the elements to show me through the night. Draw corners close from far, unknown thing known to all, take what's within me, and transmutate my heart. Make me precious, cast circles, round me out, burn till I purify, till there is only love. Rise for me, come and alchemize me, take hold as you rush in the gold, come and alchemize me, as the chorus. And what I get from all of this is a plea, a desperate cry to perhaps a higher force, a guardian angel, your higher consciousness. In lots of beliefs, your idea of self can be compartmentalized as having different kind of densities or connections to an oversoul. That's a term that's thrown around a lot in the New Age community. The oversoul sort of has step downs, and the ego is sort of the lowest part of it. The ego is very trapped in the 3D world, and very self-contained, concerned with, 3D reality and the preservation of this self in the 3D reality, with very little, care or context for the spiritual or the expansive nature of the collective you or us. That if you get into, esoteric spirituality talks about, the connections of all of the souls coming together that, that are part of you. Perhaps, again, I'd be interested to see if this project is called Oversoul, if that kind of New Age idea of having different parts of yourself stationed at different levels of consciousness. And also how that ties into people who might be reincarnated all over the world, who are your twin flames, or part of you in the oversoul level. Because, there's like this idea that oversouls have different, manifestations that all branch out like a family tree to a similar source. And eventually all those sources go up to one point, and that would be like the cosmos or the God point. The God source, as it's referred to in a lot of these teachings. It's interesting because if we look at the visuals, we don't have a music video for this song yet, but I get this kind of I get the idea of a person or a creature who has been, detained against their will or captured. Um, but perhaps it's by their own volition to be experimented upon. There's like wires. There's definitely a sci-fi. I was just watching The Creator, so that's in my head. The sci-fi movie from last year. Artificial intelligence kind of angle in the visual here. So what does that say about the human mind perhaps being trapped and being experimented with by perhaps nefarious forces, or perhaps it's a visual representation of what we do with our own mind. We explore and we kind of experiment, and perhaps we tamper too much with it and kind of torture it because of all of these fears and insecurities and confusion and doubts that we might have about our purpose and who we are, and the world. And so this could be a story that she's telling of this sort of captured aspect of ourselves inside of us that's in captivity but is longing to be freed, but maybe it's being experimented on or perfected. So perhaps it's not so nefarious. Through these alchemical processes, it's going to we are healing our traumas. And we are ascending out of a lower plane of consciousness. And that can be interpreted in a very metaphysical way, or it could be just interpreted as, self-improvement 101, reconfiguring the way we think, fixing the bugs in the computer. So I think that's very much where we're going with this, and it's the beginning of a story that I think could be really interesting. It sounds a lot like Kerli wants to tell a visual story along with a sonic one here, just by the imagery we're getting so far and the teasing. So, I mean, a visual project would be really nice. I just am hoping we get at least one full music video from this era, but who knows? Maybe every song might get a music video or some form of visual attached. But let's talk about the sonic elements first, because the sonic elements are what are absolutely blowing me away. When I saw the cover and I was thinking about Alchemise, I was trying to think what kind of sound might she be going for, coming off of 21st Century Kids, which was definitely trying to fit with a sort of modern, at once kind of airy and like playful kind of instrumentation, coupled with a really gritty and kind of heavy bass and beat that has a little bit more of a home in the sort of trap and hip hop realm. And I think this song experiments more with blending together very rhythmic kind of speaker reverberating bass and beats with extremely rhythmic vocal and synth layering. So it's got this so it's got a bit of a grungy undertone. And yet the vocal we're getting in lots of it is sort of this ascending kind of ethereal swell. It's higher head voice, again, ethereal comes, it's the best way to describe it. It's in the, kind of incantational aspects of the lyrics, like a traditional pop song. And I love that. With an Eastern sensibility, I think there's definitely some Indian vibes, with the way the melody plays out. And it lends itself to, I think, the kind of dance that is very much in that style, because of that is, I don't know how else to better describe it, but it's got a thrust to it. There's sort of a sensual kind of nature to the movement of the rhythm about this song. It's just very energetic, and it's quick. It's here with 2 verses and 2 choruses. I really wish there was a bridge. I'm not going to lie. I think my biggest and only real critique is that the song is only 2 minutes and 40 seconds, which, is pretty common for songs today. I mean, that's about how long a Eurovision song has to be. And I mean, for a lead single, totally understandable, especially if you're trying to get a song to, perhaps be more marketable for playlisting. That sweet spot of 2 minutes and 30 seconds is really what they like. And it's very much pushed on TikTok as well. But it's it is the bridge is something we have had to mourn in a lot of pop culture today. I think a lot of songs are losing the bridge, and it's just we don't want to lose the bridge. So I hope that other songs on this project, cross the 3 minute mark and have maybe some form of bridge. But without it, it's still you could just play it on a loop, and I mean, it really kind of just you'll never get tired of it. I think this is one of the most interesting, compelling, up tempo numbers that she has put out. Well, for me, definitely since Shadowworks. But comparing it to Savages, I could see the comparison. They both have a slightly similar sound in some ways, but this song I think is actually sonically more interesting than Savages. So I would say other songs like Where the Dark Things Are, I think are kind of iterations. It's interesting because she's working with this producer Crash Cove on this song as co-producer, and he worked on some songs on Shadowworks. I'm not entirely sure which ones, but if I don't believe he worked on Where the Dark Things Are. But this song definitely, it's born out of that, kind of alternative, rhythmic, mystical pop kind of realm. And I'm really excited to see, how it could be performed live. This song definitely is asking for choreography, which I'm sure is something that she's probably been thinking about as part of the creation of this. And so if there is a visual or a music video, if there happens to be that, I mean, I would like to see it. But again, I don't want to get too, I kind of am just with Kerli, just like wanting to just be there for the ride, and whatever comes. And I'm just grateful for whatever art she's willing to give us. Because, it's a great way to start out the new year for music, because I've actually been feeling like music is, for sure, like doing great things, and especially in the independent sphere. But it's wonderful and so refreshing to see music that is so compelling to me like this. I mean, Kerli will always be one of my favorite, artists, and so I'm just so excited to enter this kind of proper era again for the first time in 5 years. Because sometimes, and I do, not trying to throw any shade, but I do feel like I listen to a lot of music, and it's kind of by my own choice, where I'm just kind of thinking, I don't know if this music's really saying anything that is really pushing the envelope here, in terms of interpersonal exploration. And it's great to hear songs about romance and day-to-day heartbreak, but it's also kind of refreshing to see an artist so unapologetically committed to the esoteric, so to speak, and kind of expanding beyond just our, the concept of, like I said, that sort of lowest density ego, and pleading to just, ascend out of it. I mean, there's definitely, it's the kind of stuff I want to surround myself more with, and there's, not enough of it in pop music. So it's great when it can also be paired with beats that are infectious and hooking and hooky, and can be really fun and sexy to dance to. That's the perfect double threat, because there's so many artists that I adore for having such, poetic and probing lyricism, but the melody's it's like the melody's not considered at all, or even so much the musicality. It's more kind of it's very hard to get into for that reason. And so pop songs that can, be pop songs, but also have all of this depth, even in such a short, couple verses. Just, it's sort of the expression of like, a picture paints 1,000 words. Well, sometimes a simple pop song with the right kind of alchemical processes. I mean, you could treat writing a song like alchemy, right? All of these things have to come into it, and, to create magic. And I just think Kerli's very interested in exploring that, and making uplifting, probing, deeply personal, powerful, but also, pop, very much dance pop songs. And so that's just a really exciting avenue, and I can't wait to see what we have coming next. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on Kerli's new single. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Please give this a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new. I always cover Kerli on this channel. I don't cover as many other artists as I used to, but I always will cover my core artists. And so stick around, and thank you all so much. And I hope you all have a wonderful, blessed day. Peace, love, and light. Bye.